Well, hello there again, friends. Today is 5/21/2022, and today is the Odin Project Vlog Day 106. Today I completed the Webpack module, 20% complete in the JavaScript section. Today is very likely, this video anyway, it's Saturday morning here, is going to be very short. It's not a long article, and I didn't have to spend a lot of time on it, and you probably won't either. It's literally just reading these tutorials and following through with them, and then the discussion on them is really just tying them back to the tutorial. Um, they didn't explicitly say to follow along with the tutorial. It just says go through. I don't know exactly what that means. Go through the tutorial to see examples of using Webpack to manage your website assets. I did take my pretty little time going through this, and because I decided, excuse me, I decided last second to not follow along with I didn't code along with it. So there's nothing to show today in the editor because I didn't go along with this, and mainly because it didn't really explicitly say, and also because down here it even says on this part anyway, you don't need to do the rest of the Webpack tutorials at this time, but take a look at what's offered on the sidebar in their guides page. And so I just took my time with it and read through it. So it's up to you guys whether you personally want to do the exercise or not. Another reason why is because on the first tutorial, they start off with asset management, and right off the bat says if you've been following the guide from the start, which we haven't, this is not the same. The project we were working on in the last video is not the same as this. It's got different structure and different code in it. You'll now have a small project that will show hello Webpack, which we don't. I mean, we'll have something similar to it, but it's not set up the same. Now let's try to incorporate some other assets like images to see how they can be handled. So if you go through it, you might run into some errors here and there because it's not set up exactly how they have it. And I didn't really want to struggle with it at that level. Also, I knew that the next section is a restaurant page project, and I already looked at it briefly. It's exactly what I thought. We're going to be using Node Packet Manager and Webpack to create that project. So from start to finish. So that's thirdly another reason why I decided not to do this. But nevertheless, I'm going to keep this video short. We'll just go over these knowledge checks real quick. So it says how do you load CSS using Webpack? So it takes you right here to the CSS section. You use npm install -- save dev, and that's what I talked about in the last video. This is saving that dev environment so you have the correct dependencies and options available to you. That wouldn't be if you didn't use that and or save production, that wouldn't be available to you. And then you're going to load style loader and CSS loader. Cool thing about this, I was reading that how you type it in here inside of the config file is how it will be used when you're loading it. So the module will go even though you said style loader and CSS loader, actually it will load CSS. It'll run CSS loader against the CSS first and then style loader. I don't remember exactly why that's like that. It's just that's just something to note the way it is. How do you load images using Webpack? Again, a lot of this is a little redundant, so I won't spend a lot of time on this, but loading images is a similar thing. We're going to change the config file to use a regular expression to basically sniff out anything that's a PNG, SVG, JPEG, JPG, or GIF, and we're going to say it's a type asset resource, and I do believe you need to you have to run. Oh, you just run it inside the build. So this one doesn't have any specific dependencies that you have to install within Webpack before using it. It's must be baked in, and you're just ready to use it once you add in the test and type inside your rules. So that's that one. How do you load fonts? Very similar to images. In fact, I think it's the exact same thing. Yep. You just add the test looking for a regular expression of anything.waf. For this example, WAF, WAF2, EOT, TTF, OFT, OTF, asset resource again, because it's going to be, they're assuming it's probably in the same folder. And this goes you through an example of adding it to your project and creating the style CSS that targets it, and then you run it with npm run build that you had set up from prior as a shortcut. How do you load data? And this one is similar. npm install. So we're going to install some dependencies. This one's very similar to the CSS. So we have a CSV loader and an XML loader that we are going to install, and then we're going to use again a regular expression to facilitate it. And the use is we're gonna use the CSV loader for CSV TSV files, and then we're gonna use a regular expression again for XML, and we're gonna tell we want to use the XML loader. So the only difference between the CSS is that we aren't using multiple dependencies inside of one module rule test. We're using one-to-one because obviously CSV loader is only going to work with CSV files, and XML is only going to work with XML. So you don't want to mix and mash them together. And how would you track errors in bundled code? So that's kind of cool. That is using something called source maps. And what you do basically is you put an inline source map in your config file using called DevTool. This is again a development environment. And when you do that, you are going to institute a error. If you notice console.log count, it took me a minute to realize when I read through this what was wrong. Console spelled wrong here. And so when you build it using npm run build, it will do that. And then when you open index.html in the browser, you will get an error in the console if you F12 it. And it actually says that you're getting an error HTML button element print me on print file.js2. So that's super helpful because this error is being called on index.html, but as you see, the error is actually inside of a different JavaScript file called print. And so if you install this dependency or this source map, or set it up anyway in the config, mess it up in my words here. Webpack will automatically track that through what they call the what do they call that? I thought source map used the manifest. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but that's how you set that up. And I don't believe there's any dependencies to install on that. You just set it up and use it like that. And that's it. So keeping this one short and sweet. Next video, you're going to get a bonus video today. I've already looked through it. We're going to do it live and together, and it will be I'll mark this one as complete. Next lesson, and we're going to be doing a restaurant page. So in the next video, we'll be doing an intro to this and moving forward. And like I said, it'll be a bonus video. I'll do it right after I upload this one and move from there. So with all that said, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. And until next time, see ya.